Okay, I don't think this will be long because we're almost done. So I left off on some cognitive benefits of siblings, and actually, yeah, cognitive. I'll call them cognitive developmental benefits, and then power assertion uh, is associated with a range of bad outcomes developmentally. I'd say the best way to think about it is that it's a somewhat unskilled and ineffective way to parent. The worst way to think about it is it's developmentally risky for the child. Okay, let's try to move on. Um, yeah, so interesting cross-cultural findings. You've by now seen many times the contrast of individualistic versus collectivist cultures. It's, it's really one of those very interesting. It's hard to find, I want to say, simple cultural differences that do that much work. I don't mean that there's not cultural differences. I just mean simple differences that pan out in terms of yielding really interesting developmental effects. This is definitely one. Developmental cascades. Let's think of a couple. So, emotion to me is huge. Babies are born from the get-go. They imitate, they pay attention to faces. Throughout infancy, they have a lot of back and forth interaction, synchrony with parents, warmth, emotional expressive warmth, and I'll just say sort of loving care behavior from a parent is really good for emotional development. By ages 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, we see steady emotional gains, both in the child's ability to understand others' emotions and also to regulate their own. And both of those developments are strongly associated with outcomes, right? Remember, cascading is fundamentally about a development today that interacts with a future development, or it could be a concurrent development. And then you get kind of a snowball effect for good or for bad. The author steps through a bunch. Just think about punishment, think about parenting styles, relate to moral development, relate to attachment, relate to peer interaction. Um, if this were a class where I could give you an essay for your next exam, I'd give you an essay on thinking about how emotional development can cascade to several different domains for good or for bad. Um, they don't cover. Oh, there it is. Hostile attribution bias. I will make sure to put a hostile attribution bias question on your quiz. Basically, um, basically, they test children by having them read vignettes, little stories, and they have to make an inference. So imagine a vignette where one character bumps into another, and then you ask the child, "Well, what happened here?" Well, there's two answers. One is he pushed him, hostile attribution bias. Another answer is they accidentally bumped into each other. So if you are harshly parented, you're at risk for developing hostile attribution bias. That means you see others as kind of constantly against you. I bet you know people like this. I bet you've known them. And I bet maybe if you have known someone like this, maybe at some point you just kind of moved away. Like, gee, I think you're a nice person, but like you're constantly kind of looking for a fight, and that's kind of exhausting at best, frightening at worst. So this is a really tough potential cascade. If you see others as always hostile and against you, you have a very toxic, uh, very toxic kind of construction of yourself, self, and other. I'll add to that. That hostile attribution bias is well studied in the maltreatment literature. Kids who are maltreated, not surprisingly, see a lot more anger often when they're very young. And then sometimes, as young children, they show a bias to seeing faces as angry rather than neutral or whatever. And that bias towards seeing people, actually seeing their facial expressions as angry, again, really sends you in an unhealthy direction in terms of how you judge other people and how you interpret ambiguous interactions. I think that's where the book closes. Let me take 3 or 4 minutes and flip through the book. I'm going to tell you, I haven't made the quiz yet, and I haven't seen the quiz questions I will have to choose from. But let me tell you some things that I think are certainly valuable to know and valuable to test. On page 379, this emotion matching, the fact that kids get better, the sort of time scale at getting better at complex emotions. I think that's really interesting and important. Delay of gratification, page 381. Um, Emotion regulation and temperament is real important. I love all the findings about parenting, sensitive parenting, emotion, emotion coaching, all of those findings, the kind of outcomes that produce more well-adapted children versus less well-adapted children. Um, Nice adoption study we talked about. Look at it carefully because I want to make sure I didn't say it incorrectly. Sometimes when I step through a study that I read an hour or two ago, I can be confusing. I'm on page 386. Nice evidence for the sibling uh, causing more precocious theory of mind. Um, Looking at the page 387, looking at some of the outcomes they measured in the Perry preschool program, some of the dependent measures, some of the outcome measures. What were they or what were they not? Imagine I was to ask you a question where I gave you 3 things they measured as according to your book and one thing they didn't. So don't, I always tell students, don't memorize things, read for understanding, organize your notes. And if I say, oh, what were the outcomes in the Perry study? You don't have to memorize it, just look. But if you've prepared and you're organized, you'll be good. Um, Culture and emotion, page 310. Again, interesting topic. Lots on that. Lots on that. Different kinds of aggression, development of aggression. Um, the American Academy of Pediatrics findings, their words on punishment are really worthwhile. I didn't talk as much as I maybe should have about household chaos and media violence. Here's one thing I'll note. It didn't show up on the slides, I don't think. Here's one thing I'll note. You might have been surprised that watching aggressive videos didn't seem to be causal. Um, a really complex issue to study. And one thing you want to remember, if you remember your methods, there's always a third variable argument. Kids who are watching too much aggressive TV are I'm going to use a value judgment, they're being less effectively parented because aggression, kind of bad. So remember, it's hard to study cleanly. We will never randomly assign children to aggressive TV. Instead, we have families that have different rules. And sometimes if a family has no rules around TV watching, that correlates with a lot of other things. Okay. She reviewed a little bit of psychodynamic stuff, which is worthwhile. Um, yeah, some of the evidence that we men and women don't do as well as we think we do for sort of presenting, I don't know how to call it, a more egalitarian, less sex role biased position would be helpful. Um, Biological influences on gender, page 402. I said a little bit about it. I think it's really quite important. I didn't say that much, but there's actually a fairly big literature there that's kind of important. Um, so just because I don't mention something, it doesn't mean it's important. I'm just stepping through. There's a lot here, so I'm trying to just kind of remind you of things to be looking at as you're reviewing. We looked at intentionality in terms of how the children make a moral decision. Was the act intentional? At what ages do they start to seem to be sensitive to that? Um, then I talked a little bit about the in-group, out-group thing. That's real interesting. Um, Talked a little bit about parenting. So there's a lot in there at this time. I'm going to stop there.